So, haha, rock mining. Let's give it another go. ROC, ROC, remote ore collector. I've come down to Aberdeen, which is a hot planet. So I'll be wearing my Pembroke armour, which will give me a little bit longer in the field. And the reason that I've come here is because Hadanite, which is the most expensive gemstone that you can find, has a much higher chance of spawning here. Nope, I've already told a lie. Janalite is the most expensive gemstone that you can find. But so far this only spawns in caves and in very small numbers and isn't really for mining in the Grey Cat Rock. So the last time that I did this, I did it in the constellation Taurus, and although it worked really well, it's such a big ship that moving it around from site to site, loading up the Grey Cat Rock back and forth can take quite a bit of time. So I'm hoping that now I'm using the Drake Cutlass, it'll be a little bit quicker and a little bit easier. It is a tight squeeze, but it works. If it fits, it sits. I think it works quite well. It wasn't too difficult to get in. Look at that, doesn't that look cool? So my plan is to play for about an hour and see how much I can make in that time. I'm not the type of player that's overly concerned with trying to maximise profits and make as much as I can in as little time as possible. I think it's more about the gameplay and enjoying yourself. Just look at that view, doesn't that look cool? Now, it doesn't take too long of searching before I find my first gemstones. I've noticed that with the gemstones you have to get a lot closer to them before they appear as gemstones from your scan, so that ore you will be able to tell from a longer distance, but if you're having to get closer to reveal what it is, you'll usually find it's going to be gemstones. Now this first cluster that I found is Dollarvine, which is the least expensive one out of the lot, but there's not too much in it between Dollarvine and Aphorite, and I haven't done this in a little while, so I thought it would be good practice anyway, just to get out there and start mining them. It's good to see how much you can get from one of the hauls and how much you can make anyway, so let's give this a little miney scoopy. So I'm going to edit up this quite a bit and probably speed up some bits as well, because I was having quite a few issues with selecting the miner and then sometimes it not recognising the rock even being there, so I would have to exit mining mode, sometimes power the ship off and then power the ship back on and switch between mining and extraction modes to get it to work. I'm not sure whether that was because I was on a slightly laggy server or that's just how it is at the moment. It's still a bit jibby. So I've also been doing quite a bit of mining in the prospector, mining up some voids and trying out different fits, and I've got to say, as a change of pace, rock mining is so much easier and so much more laid back than mining in the prospector. Firstly, because in the prospector, when you're solo mining, quite a lot of the rocks that you come across are going to be too big to mine, which can be incredibly frustrating when you come across a rock that, you know, is going to be a really high value. It feels like they've kind of nerfed solo mining a little bit because of that. So this is the second set of gemstones that I've come across, which is also Dollarvine, but I got a hell of a lot of Dollarvine from that last group that it's actually quite worth getting them and perhaps not hunting out the Hadanite and only going for that. So I'm just sort of getting some screenshots here because after all this is the desktop background simulator game. And what's also cool that you saw me do just a minute ago is transferring the gemstones from the grey cat ROC to the Drake Cutlass, which is really good and another bonus to rock mining over ore mining, that you can transfer the goods easily into your ship so that you can keep going for longer. You can really fill up the Drake Cutlass with this before you head back to sell it, and you don't have to refine the ore. You don't have to then put it in another cargo ship and transport it to a planet-side facility to sell it. You can sell it in anywhere where there's a refinery shop. So it does kind of have a lot of benefits over mining in a prospector. Having a little bit of a problem here, getting my rock inside the Drake Cutlass. Always worried that the whole thing's just going to blow up at any moment when you do stuff like that, but it's all good and it fits in. So let's have a look at what we got from those two little mining sessions of gemstones there. So $562 vine, which is just over 73,000 AUEC, which is not too bad. Now here I've come across the good stuff. This is Hadanite. You can tell because it's got that slight pinkish tinge to it, and it's worth over double dollar vine. So when you find this, everything you're doing is worth twice as much as the dollar vine would be. So well worth scooping this up. It's very satisfying watching the rocks blow up and turn into lots of little diamonds and sprinkle all over the floor that you can scoop up. So I had to look up what ROC, ROC, stands for before I did this video, because I didn't know. Remote Ore Collection. And another thing I also looked up was ASOP, because I didn't actually know what ASOP stood for. So answers in comments if you know without looking up. Smack them in there because I thought that was quite interesting. It's a little bit like URL. I don't really know what URL stands for, but I type in the URL bar multiple times a day. So 119 Hadanite, which is pretty cool. It's about, I don't know, it's about 30,000 or something. Not a bad little haul there. And here I am finding another bunch of Hadanite straight after this one. Although, as soon as I found it and landed, I start to have a few issues with my ship. I can't power off. I can't get out the seat. I thought I'd just give it a little minute to see what was going on. Oh, I can move around. But then disaster strikes. And I got to admit, I've been experiencing a lot of 30Ks since 3.19, which is why when doing things like this, I try to limit myself to a sort of an hour loop, so that if anything does happen, I'm not losing too much. But I give it 10-15 minutes, I log back in, and I find that my Drake Cutlass is stored at Lawville. What I don't want to do is recall the ship to the station that I'm in, otherwise all the contents could be lost. So I get my Avenger Titan, fly out the station. Thanks to persistent entity streaming, I've got to dodge and weave my way past a wreckage there. I'm going to fly over to Lawville and see if, fingers crossed, it's all still in the cargo bay. So let's go and have a look. Did also give me another chance to have a nice little fly around Lorville, the new Lorville 2.0, which is looking quite nice. Also some more wreckage as I dock in this hangar there, which I've got to be careful of, because you can quite often clip that and lose it. So I've called my ship from Lorville. I'm going to go and check to see if it's in there first before I go and find somewhere to sell it. I'm not going to go back out. The Grey Cat ROC is still in there, which I think is a very good sign. And fingers crossed, all my Dollarvine and Hadanite is still in the ship's bay. Let's have a look, open up the inventory. Just open this up first. And I'm like, oh, there's nothing there. Oh yeah, go to vehicles. Success, fantastic. I'm very happy with this. So 30k recovery is working. So I move off into Lorville to go and sell it and see how much money I make. So I've got 119 units of the Hadanite, which sells for 32,000, which isn't too bad. And the Dollarvine I've got a lot more of, so it should be worth quite a bit more than that. 73k, so just over 100,000 AUEC for that run. And I think it would have been quite a bit more if I didn't 30k. I certainly would have picked up the rest of that Hadanite, which could have been another 40,000. So not too bad for an hour's gameplay.